Okay. Okay, just briefly, I'd like to welcome everybody who has come today. This first meeting is a small group. We decided to do this at the last moment. We're going to be doing this every month. This is designed to get your questions answered about our upcoming conference and see how we can best help you and assist you in getting the most out of the conference. I'd like to start out by having everybody introduce themselves. My name is Mike Ross. I'm one of uh, the conference leader, I guess, supposed to say, along with John Howell. I work for Portage-based Solutions. Been a database developer for over 30 years. I used to run FileMaker user groups up in the Seattle area. And John, would you like to introduce yourself real quickly? John Howell.
I'm trying to get back. Do you see my video or is that off? Can you see
I
me?
don't see your video. I just see a picture. That's okay. I know you're in a remote location.
No, it's just that the phone's being weird. Okay, so you won't see my picture until I can figure that out. John Howell, data experience. I'm right now in Sacramento, but I live in Auburn, about 40 miles away. I've spoken to FileMaker conferences 20 times. Been in the community 30 years, but programming in FileMaker for 35. And then Mike and I together initiated this conference initially as a substitution for Pause on Air this year. Now it's kind of grown into its own thing. So this is just it's a fun thing. I've never had so much fun in my life as doing this. So it's a ball.
Well, you're a glutton for punishment. So, Brian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Brian Yin. I'm with Universal Design, and it's a company that's been around for 40 years. Of course, not doing FileMaker that entire time, but pretty good bit of it. I've been a FileMaker developer since September of 1995, which is oddly specific because I had a client that had a need, and FileMaker wound up being on the list and was chosen by me. So that started my FileMaker adventures. Yeah, and that's it. And I just work on databases all day long, happily.
Yes, and Brian is going to do a kind of a short teaser presentation at the end of the meeting for one of the sessions that we're going to be doing at the conference. So hang around for that. And John Newhoff, would you like to introduce yourself if you're around?
Sure. I think I'm having the same problem John is. The mobile app doesn't seem to want to let me turn video on.
Huh.
But yeah, thanks, John Newhoff, Portage-based Solutions, and looking forward to getting down to California and meeting everybody in person. I'm going to do a session on using AI tools to do FileMaker server log analysis. I'm spending an inordinate amount of time prepping for that because I'm using it as an opportunity to learn a lot about vibe coding and AI in general. So it's a big learning opportunity for me. Anyway, that's me.
And John's pretty humble guy, but John is one of the sponsors of the conference itself, and we really appreciate that.
Well, thanks, Mike.
Dennis, would you like to introduce yourself? You're on mute. There you go.
Just had to unmute myself. Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dennis Burnham. I'm in Denver, Colorado. My company is Burnham Business Development, sometimes called Pear Tree Consulting. My FileMaker experience goes all the way back to the mid-1980s, before it was a Claris product. I don't remember which Roman numeral version I started with, but was one of those. And what I hope to be doing in collaboration with Mike is a presentation at the conference that came about as a result of something we did together a couple of months ago where we met online and found that we had a shared interest in a topic. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because Mike and I haven't agreed yet on whether we're going to keep it a surprise. I've been involved in a number of user groups, New Jersey, California, Texas, in Dallas, and now I occasionally visit with the Denver group. Just last Friday, I did a presentation in Dallas about something that maybe I can be persuaded or permitted to present it at the conference. We'll see whether or not time slots are available for it. And anything else anybody wants to know, I'm here to answer questions.
Thank you, Dennis. David Simpson.
Yeah, hi everybody. This is Dave Simpson, president of .com Solutions Incorporated. I've been a FileMaker developer since 1986. Forethought and Neshoba systems those days on a Mac Plus, and so I'm happy to be sponsoring this year. And I'm going to be showing this little tool that I'm building called the FN Pro Clipboard Explorer to show you the secret private data types that FileMaker puts onto the clipboard, so that you can explore, what it's doing, take a look, and maybe modify it, put items back into the clipboard, things of that nature.
I don't know. Thank you, David, and thank you for being a sponsor. I don't know if you caught this, but the Apple WWDC announcement said that you're going to be able to go back and pick up older clippings from your clipboard. So
yeah, I saw that. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, basically a clipboard history. We've never had that at the operating system level before. I mean, there are some third-party tools that do that. But yeah, I think that's pretty neat. I wasn't I'm not sure if I could link into that API to add that functionality or not. I wasn't intending that. I'm intending this to be a really straightforward tool. But so I build my tools with a development environment called Live Code, which is basically based upon HyperTalk, basically the modern day implementation of HyperTalk, built by the fine folks in Edinburgh, Scotland, Live Code Limited.
Right. I remember their product well. And some of us old timers also remember the old Mac scrapbook.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
David, I welcome you to check the chat because Brian Ginn put a message in there for you.
Oh, okay.
So last of our group is Stephen. I do not know how to pronounce your last name.
You do well by not trying. Stephen Kirkfleet with KVC, president of KVC in Minnesota. I've been programming in FileMaker and business so forth for 30 plus years.
Nice.
I'm more of a sponge trying to learn the information that everybody else has to share, but we'll certainly speak up as needed. And I've never been to an unconference, but I've been to just about every, I still call it developers conference, Engage. And the venue you've got kind of put me over the edge on wanting to go to this one because it looks like a beautiful spot. And so, yeah, the venue had a lot to do with it, though I'm sure I would learn a lot as well.
That's great. I think one of the things that make unconferences special is that we're not beholden to Claris's agenda. We respect what Claris does, but this is by developers for developers, and we hope that this is a great experience for people to come together and to collaborate, to introduce themselves, and just be able to have a good sense of community, something that I don't think we get a lot of with the current Engage. We used to get them at the dev cons when everybody was at the same hotel and there's a lot of time to mill around with people, and but I think that this conference is going to fill in a nice gap.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I just want to mention, Stephen, if I might. So you're in Minneapolis area, right?
Let me guess, you might know Bill Nienaber.
Yeah, I used to work at Tactile.
Yeah, he's the one that told me he knew somebody that was part of this, and he put me in the eyesight of
Nice.
what you guys were putting together, and it's because of him that I came aboard.
I checked you out by texting my good friend Matthew Dahlquist.
Oh
Said,
yeah,
you ever heard of this guy? I never heard of him. He goes, oh yeah, he's a well-respected, intelligent, kind, generous developer,
you're
good in
making
the
all that
community.
up. You're
He
making
talked
all
you
that
up.
up, but no, he and I have worked together as well.
Oh, nice. Good. Now you just got to get Matthew to show up because he's too busy doing art shows with his wife.
I haven't seen him at anything in a long time.
Oh gosh, he's busy. I did art shows with my wife several years ago. It's a busy thing.
Oh, he does. Well, Bill Niedaber is going to be there, so that's great.
Yeah. Yep. Right.
Brian is asking for some old FileMaker memories, so I've got two that I can share with you.
Go ahead.
I was working in a product that was sold to me even before I got my hands on my first Macintosh. It was a Lotus product called Jazz. Had a really excellent manual. I read the manual cover to cover on my way to and from Hong Kong. And that was really a good experience because if you read the manual before you get your hands on the computer, you actually learn more. And I did what I wanted to do with all 5 elements of Jazz. There was word processing, there was spreadsheet, database, graphics, and a modem for communication. And the fellow who sold it to me was a really wonderful mentor. In fact, I was hoping I might visit with him when I'm in Los Altos for this conference because he's in his 90s and living in very nearby Los Altos, but he passed away 2 weeks ago. So I won't be able to do that. Anyway, he said to me one day, I want you to stop using Jazz and start using something new called FileMaker.
Wow.
I argued with him. I didn't want to stop using Jazz because I had learned it. I had tamed it to do what I wanted to do. He said, trust me, Jazz will be gone a year from now. FileMaker will be here forever. And boy, he was right.
Wow.
So, so there's that anecdote. And then the next one I'll give you, Brian, goes fast forward to 1993. I had gotten my life turned around when I had a business divorce and a matrimonial divorce in the same year. And when I moved to California, everybody was in my family and my friends was persuading me to start my life over, get involved with a singles group or something and start meeting people. And this lady at the JCC in Marin County invited me to come to this support group where there were a bunch of people and we all had to kind of introduce ourselves. She had a really clever way of doing it. She said, you should introduce yourself the way your ex would have introduced you. And that was a good icebreaker. But at the end of the thing, we had to make an agreement to participate for the full 8 weeks or so. And my conclusion was, I don't want to be a part of this group because they're all victims of their relationships. And I just wanted to not drag that baggage along with me. So I declined to join. And instead, I started to participate in the Max of Marin user group, which had a subgroup at the time that was called a FileMaker user group. And that was right around the time that FileMaker version 3 came along. And I realized that there too, there were a bunch of people who were all struggling with their relationships. But it was FileMaker 3 relationships.
Nice.
And it wasn't quite so bad. And then somebody did a presentation once, it might have been Bob Harlow, showing how you could do a self relationship. And I remember sitting in the back row and I was talking too loud out loud to myself when I said, how very California.
Daniel Harlow, maybe?
No, it was Bob Harlow.
Oh, I don't know him.
Bob was a teacher, so a lot of his FileMaker work had to do with education. And much to his credit, he volunteered to be the leader of that monthly meeting that we had at some pizza restaurant in Marin. And that was my introduction to what was then called the Claris Solutions Alliance, I think. My early days.
Those are great stories.
Yeah.
So, first, next thing I want to talk to about is the conference overview. But since everybody here is a conference attendee, I feel like, the subject is probably somewhat well known to you. You visited the web pages. There's just a few things in between the cracks that I'd like to talk about that might be of interest to you. One is that we are working on planning the schedules out right now, and that our approach is to pack as much as we can. We've got a lot of speaker sessions. We're anticipating more. We'll be doing at least 3 at a time, and we're going to sort of juggle the schedule so that we feel that session topics don't kind of conflict with each other, like maybe not have 2 AI topics going on at the same time. And that we also will have variable length sessions. And so that's a lot of coordination that leadership here has got to make happen. But we are planning to have light sessions going when we're also getting people registered in, and tours and that sort of thing. So I don't know, John, if you have anything else you want to add to that, John Howell.
No, the only thing that's on my mind is I sent over 1,000 emails out, and I've posted broadcasts on 4 or 5 different Facebook groups and 3 other forums. So there's at least 10,000 people have heard about this event so far, but we've got a little under 5 months to go. And of course, we're on the marketing edge here, trying to get more people to sign up, because the faster they sign up, the faster the snowball effect occurs. So I encourage you all to reach out to anybody who might be of interest to go to full access and get them to sign up early. There's a number of people trolling in the background that I've spoken to who will sign up, but they all like to wait till later on, make sure the restaurant's not empty. So my entire endeavor right now, from my perspective, is get people to sign up. And we don't have any problem getting sessions. We have 25 sessions already, and if we get another 100 people to sign up, we'll have more sessions than we can handle. That's not going to be a problem. We have a lot of good material. We just need to get the world. What's the word? My job is to build credibility, because we're the new kids on the block. We're not Proofgeist. We're not Seed Code. We're not Claris. We have a couple sponsors, and that's great. Claris is going to send people, but we still have to establish credibility to get people to sign up. So if any way that anybody can help, reach out or send me an email or text or whatever, that'd be great.
Claris does not sponsor first-time conferences. That's something that we learned from them. So,
but they will be there. They'll have 1 or more people there from the office.
Mm-hmm. The other thing to note about sessions that I think is kind of interesting and a little bit different is that they kind of fall into 3 categories. We have a more traditional sessions, which are kind of technically oriented, where somebody's going to do a presentation, and that those sessions, if approved by the session speaker, will be recorded. But we will stop recording at the end of the session when it comes to Q&A, because a lot of people don't want to speak up if they know they're being recorded.
Right.
The second type of session is going to be more interactive. These are sessions these are my favorite kind, where the presenter is more of a moderator, and they can also take on a flavor of having a panel. And these sessions are designed to be interactive and somewhat interruptive, because we're trying to generate a conversation. You know, these sessions, to be able to promote that, will not be recorded either. And then the last kind of session is kind of on more on the personal aspects. Dennis and I are working on one right now, and there can be other subjects. This is basically about keeping you intact as a human being, and how to survive your own business, and all. There's just a whole number of subjects on there. That
Another one of those subjects, Mike, sorry. Another one of those subjects is we're going to open up the first evening with a large, hopefully the whole group, for public speaking, how to make your presentations better, how to give a public talk. Well, there's a number of us who've got like Toastmaster background or DevCon presentation background who are accomplished to some degree at public speaking. So we're going to try to get everybody to participate in that, just so all the sessions will have a flow to them. That's one other type of more interpersonal session.
And
Mike, there was a presentation that I share with you that happened to me about 20 years ago.
Cool.
Different industry. There was a convention in Chicago at O'Hare, and it happened to be on a day when everybody was unable to land because of air traffic problems. I was on a panel. This is what you gave me this idea. I was on a panel that was discussing new technology things. My particular topic was supposed to be Palm Pilots. So that kind of tells you how long ago it was.
Wow.
And typically I used to be at that convention twice a year doing a presentation on electronic artwork, particularly vector graphics. That was what I was known for. And the lady in charge of the whole day was really having big problems because a lot of the people who were supposed to attend were stuck in the airport or they hadn't landed yet. And some of the presenters weren't there. So she came running into the meeting and grabbed me. Dennis, I need you in a hurry. I've got 150 people in the room down the hall and they need a presenter on your topic. And I said, well, Natalie, I didn't bring my laptop or anything. I've got nothing to show them. She said, I don't worry about you. You'll think of something. So I did.
Wow.
She walked me up to the front of the room and gave the usual introduction about who I am. And I turned to the audience and I said, I've always wanted to do this and I've never had the chance to do it. I know more than you do. Are there any questions? And we did 90 minutes of Q&A. So when you hear the notion that Mike was talking about having panel discussions, they can be really, really good.
Yeah, good. One other thing I want to put in before we change subject is that those of you who know or don't know, Ron Cates is building the event management system, which is the back end of the website, and Patrick Reagan is doing a lot of the content and UI editing for the website. By next Monday or Tuesday, we will have a sessions tab and a schedule tab that looks a lot better than what you see on the website. There's a lot of coding going on in the background, and all the data has been entered by me for all the different sessions that are happening and assigned to different speakers. So look for the upgrade of the website probably next Monday.
So thank you, John. Dialing back to the presentation on doing presentations, that was that is not an unknown type of presentation. There was one that was given at a Pause on Air in New Orleans that to me was so good that if I hadn't participated in that, I wouldn't be doing this today. So highly recommend that. It was fun. We basically were mentored a little bit and then had to kind of give a little pitch. It didn't have to be on FileMaker or anything else. Just be comfortable being in front of people.
Tell them about Pause on Perfection, Mike.
Well, that the Pause on Perfection, Pause on Abstraction were sessions that I gave. John participated on one of them. John Howell participated in one of them at one of the Pause on Errors, and it was designed to be a discussion on some of the traits that us developers have in terms of being perfectionists and how that can really interfere with getting your job done. And it ended up being everybody just opened up and talked about it. Gee, I just thought it was only me. So it was a great session. I had John on the Pause on Perfection to be kind of my foil because he's a perfectionist, and but it was told me
Rich
that there was a
discussion.
really good need for that. There was great discussion, and it's the type of thing that you can only discuss in a venue that I think like our conference or Pause and Error can provide. You can't really do sessions like that at a big DEF CON or a big Engage. It's just too impersonal.
You had
Yeah,
36 people in a rich discussion. Then it was wonderful.
yeah, I was there in the audience for that.
Oh, you were, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So now I want to talk a little bit about the venue. We've sort of been hinting at the venue. The venue, of course, is at the Jesuit Retreat Center. The venue is designed by us to promote being able to collaborate with each other and to get to know each other and to create a comfortable environment for everybody. So we are hoping that that kind of intimate setting is going to be one of the extreme pluses. So, John, John Howell, is there anything you'd like to say about the venue that you might want to throw in there?
I'm waiting for them to finalize the contract. The insurance is in place. I've been there twice. I took a tour and I recorded a bunch of the videos on the lay of the land and how to drive in. I have yet, that was 2 months ago, yet to find time, maybe this weekend, to narrate those videos. And then Bob Majors is going to capstone them with intros and outros. And then they will go on the YouTube channel and embedded on the website. So you'll be able to get a sense of the whole place with narration before you ever get there. You'll know where to park and where to walk and which building is where. We videotaped all of that with hours of 4K video. Um, it's nice. It's different. It has a feel of like the cross between some ancient rich guy's palace and a monastery. It's an interesting blend. Quite beautiful, and there's views from the rotunda, which is semicircular, plate glass over Silicon Valley, and at night that the lights is incredible. And the dining room is just like that, semicircular with views out over Silicon Valley to the east. And then where we're going to have parties and sessions up till 9 o'clock. We're going to hold sessions up till 9 o'clock at night while there's people, singing Kumbaya with guitars. And that faces west towards the mountains, which is an incredibly beautiful view. You'll see some of the pictures on the website, but it's a nice place. Couldn't have picked it better. The only thing is we've had to compensate by throwing up our own Wi-Fi dishes to get good Wi-Fi for everybody. So we're learning how to hold an event somewhere that in theory is remote, although it's in the heart of Silicon Valley. It's a nice place. It's beautiful.
Okay. So next thing I want to do is talk about news. There's always new things happening. We added to the website an area where you can kind of catch the latest news. You can see that this meetup group is being posted there. And we've also, just to let you know, that we have a grant program that was started. We have an anonymous donor. So we're looking to be able to have somebody come in who might have some financial issues, or might be, somebody who's, could be somebody who has a disability, person of color, whatever, somebody that just needs a little bit more special attention.
Might be more
And
than
there's-
one, and we already have one person filling out an application for that scholarship program.
Okay. So there's details and application links that you can click on. We just hoping that this is like a fast access way for you to find out stuff. You can see that John has posted something about the Wi-Fi. And I don't see a posting for tomorrow's Claris Beyond meetup in there, but I'll just put that out there. I don't know if that'll make it in. Tomorrow, Claris Beyond, which is a user group put on by Portage Bay, which is all about utilizing FileMaker with other third-party apps. We are going to be presenting there, and specifically Ron Cates is going to give kind of a presentation on the meeting application, FileMaker meeting application's integration with WordPress. And there'll be kind of a subset of his presentation he's going to give at the conference. So if you go to the Claris Beyond Meetup website, you can sign in for that. So we appreciate the attendance on that. Any other news I might have overlooked, John?
I'm thinking we're still, you're going to have conversations with somebody about having a really good WordPress class.
Yeah, we're working on that. But I don't think that's news at this point.
I'm just thinking about things that we've talked about.
Yeah. So now I'd like to we've been kind of doing this all along. I want to talk about if there's anybody who has a session request that we can help maybe fill, something that you might want to see. And I'm just going to tie in also whether anybody is interested in hosting. I mean, I think most of the people here may be hosting a session or two, but if you're interested in hosting a session or in being part of a panel.
I would like to say that the little mini conversation we had about the history of FileMaker, I think someone should do something on the history of FileMaker. That'd be just nice.
That would be fun.
That could be one of those interactive ones, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we're going to jot that one down. And I have a one that I'm stewing over myself right now is John Howell and I were trying to promote this conference. We wanted to speak to user groups, and what we kind of surprised and discovered is that since COVID, most of the user groups have disappeared. Mm-hmm. And we're thinking that maybe a subject matter is, should there be user groups, or what can we do to revitalize user groups? And if we do, what aspects should they take? And the idea is, once again, to have face-to-face meetings when possible. I know Zoom is easy, but there are deficits to using Zoom. Zoom is not a replacement for being, in the same room with other people and commiserating with each other. So, I think there's only like 5 user groups that are around these days. It's just dwindled down to nothing. Now, I had a user group myself for the Northwest and Seattle area, and actually had 2 separate user groups going until COVID. And I recognize that in-person meetings we're not weren't able to do this during COVID, so we went to Zoom meetings. And as I would do the Zoom meetings, every month we had more and more people from across the country and across the world joining. So these meetup groups seem to not be, we're not geographically assembled anymore, because most of them are very localized. And so Zoom basically dropped the geographical barriers. And so that localization of meetings sort of died with that. And I took my group and I kind of rolled it over into the Claris Beyond group, because one of the things about the Claris Beyond group is as a user group that I found fascinating is that this is a user group centered around a specific idea, not a specific geographical location. And maybe that is the future of user groups. I don't know. I think it's worth a discussion, and I don't know what people think about that.
I agree with that, Mike. That is an unspoken reality that some in our group have brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want some of that discussion right now, Mike, or you saying you want to have that at the conference?
I want to have that as a session topic. As I'm mulling over that, but what I want to kind of get feedback here is whether you guys think that's a good session topic.
I can tell you that I regularly attend the Dallas meeting because I used to be one of the leaders of that group. And I also attend the one here in Denver from time to time. There's a big difference between them for me as an attendee. In Denver, they're meeting in the evening at 7 o'clock. And by that time, I'm just not paying attention. I want to have dinner and relax. And they also don't usually have an agenda where there's something that gives me a reason to tune in. They're just gathering on Zoom and schmoozing with one another. Since I've lived here in Colorado, there's been 1 or 2 times where they met at a restaurant where it was so noisy that maybe it's because I'm getting old. I just would have benefited from a hearing aid to be able to hear what others were talking about. But the thing that I would contribute if we have this at the conference is that the burden should fall on Claris. My previous experience with a national trade association was that the 30 local chapters in the aggregate had more members than the national trade association had, because there was always good reasons for social get-togethers, for presentations, even for miniature trade shows for people who wanted to take a half a day out of the office rather than fly somewhere. And in my opinion, it's a wake-up call for Claris to do something about the dwindling attendance for their Engage events and to use their resources to help fund what people need to do on a local level.
Oh, cool. Dennis, can I comment on that then?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to step out for a minute. I got a call from the doctor. He just said that my sister just had heart valve replacement and the surgery went well and she's all done, which is cool. Yay. So Mike and I did a little research last week about the different meetings, and then I called Tony White, who I see just showed up, and we had a long conversation on Friday. My count is that there's only 8 groups active in the entire United States. And I know the largest one, which is FM Disc, only has now, they used to have like 80 people in a meeting. Now they'll have like 40. So if I added up the attendance to every user group in America, I think you barely break 100 out of the 20 or 25,000 people in the world who do this. So I'm thinking we want to keep pushing that platform. Now we have one more group, which is this. But I think when we have this discussion, this panel discussion at the event on revitalizing the group, I think that's where we really want Claris to have a person sitting in the room. It would be really powerful. And that's probably going to be Rick Coleman, by the way.
At DevCon, the one really good thing that they used to do, which was missing at Engage, I didn't go this year, was that there were subject matter tables in the ballroom where they served the meals.
Right.
So some of those tables were arranged geographically. Some of them had to do with topics like WebDirect or the data API. And you could just sit down with people who had something that you wanted to discuss. So again, I think it's Claris's responsibility to promote that nationwide.
And I think it's our responsibility.
Those tables were called birds of a feather.
For the right.
Go ahead, John.
I think it's our responsibility to, in the nicest way possible, point this out or call Claris out about that responsibility. I mean, I would love to have Ryan McCann there. You know, I want to say, look, I want them. They know people have said it, but I want to be one more person saying, your developer community worldwide is what makes your off-the-shelf product viable. And that's why the world runs on FileMaker, because of all the developers, and you really need to support them better. So we're going to, in the nicest way we can, really try to encourage Claris at this event to show up and heed what we're saying.
They had a program not too long ago together with the Apple stores, where the business manager at each Apple store was bringing in prospective customers to hear presentations about FileMaker, because the store employees really didn't know the product and they couldn't really feature it to their customers who were in there buying iPads or phones or computers.
Well, yeah, Dennis, that I was kind of part of that program, and the thing about that particular program was it was more of a ploy by Apple to sell more iPads. So, I mean, I thought it was a great idea in conception, but I didn't think their execution was very good. The only other thing I want to add about the meetup groups is one of the enticements that I would have when I had my meetup groups is I always provided food, and that was always fun. There's nothing like eating together.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's 12:45. That leaves us about 15 minutes. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to Brian Ginn for his presentation. And once again, Brian, he's the solutions engineer at Universal Design, been developing FileMaker solutions and doing this stuff since about 1995. I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce your session, and I'll stop my share and let you do your share.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay, do you want to? Okay. It'll take me a second to set this up. Oops. Now you can see my screen.
I see full access first looks. There we go. I see Microsoft.
Okay. All right. And I'm, as Mike said, I'm Brian again. I'm with Universal Design. And the history about what I'm about to show you is that right before ChatGPT became famous in December, I think it was 5th of 22. Is that right? Sounds right. Several months before that, I'd been developing a standalone script for me, only for me, because I needed to know, I was being thrown all these things to do, and I didn't know where first was. And all I wanted to do as a developer is, typically I'll work on 1 to 3 layouts at a time, and I think we all do that. Or that's what your focus is for this moment. And I needed to get detailed information about the fields that are on those layouts. So I needed something really quick, really portable. And so what I'm about to show you is just that. And I call it, well, let's go here. Let's go to full access. And I'll show you where you can get it. If you go to the fullaccess.us website, you can go to attending, and you can go to my name, not the company name, but my name. And you can click on this link, which will send you to the GitHub, because I put it public about 3 months ago, because what I determined is I developed it to learn a lot of the intricacies of FileMaker, what it could do. But again, I wanted to find out what was on the layout. So, or the layouts I was working on. So I wrote this, and then I wound up using it in almost every solution that came thereafter. I would throw it in there. Now, granted, I only use it for a few seconds, and you'll see why in a moment, but it gives me just what I need, and then I move on. And it doesn't get in the way of the other development, and I'll show you that right now. So I've got a little sample thing that will, if you go to this, it's FileMaker, so you just have to download the raw file. And so that should put it here. And so it's just a little typical thing. So, all right. So it's just everything's generic in here. So what you do is you just run it from the script menu, you open the data viewer, and you move it to the watch tab. So let's see what we find when we do this. It'll put a variable in here, move it to watch. And here's where the magic happens. Here's a Unix style report that you get that tells you basic information about this layout. And there are no records because this is dummy, but it would have that in there. It says there are 6 regular fields on the layout. And then it gives you the field comments. I may be the only FileMaker developer that uses field comments, and I love them. These happen to be the generic ones from when you create a new FileMaker database, but these are the fields, and these are their field comments. And then next, it gives the field type. And this to me is outstanding. So it'll give the field, but it'll give and here at the bottom, you can see what this shows you. The first column is the field, and then it's whether they are standard or stored calc or summary. Now this one's super simplistic. We're going to open up another one that'll give you a variety of things in here. Then it'll give you the the field, whether it's text, numeric, so on, whether it's indexed or unindexed, and then how many repetitions are here. So that's nice. Then this one is, it will show you the fields and give you whatever plus the value list. You'll see that a little more in detail in a moment. Then this one gets really, this is out there. Okay, these are the field bounds where they are on the layout. And this is for people like John, who are very particular. And this will tell you if you've got one of these off, maybe one of them says 258, well, you need to move that one. So that's what that's for. And it's just a quick overview. It'll even tell you the degrees that it is rotated, if any. Then this one I like. This will tell you the field and its table occurrence and its source table. Now, I think all of this can be gotten from the objects panel in layout mode, but it's just not presented in this way. So you tell it to monitor and it just continues on. And then to get rid of it, and then we're going to go into another one, you delete it from here. Now the problem is you have a global variable here. I've got it set up to where when you hold the shift key down and you run it again, it will delete all the variables that it creates, the globals. So, and let me show you the script now. And here it is. And it's got all my changes and everything, but it's DDR layout fields. And I'm going to show you one other thing that it does for clarity. So it sets a lot of things, and we'll go into this in the actual conference, because as simple as this is, it took a lot of work to get there. But let's go to the expert, if I can find it. Here it is. So if you set anything in here to anything other than blank, and you save it, there's a stark difference. For somebody like me, this is where I use it, because I know what it is, and you guys are all seasoned FileMaker people, so you'll appreciate this. Now when I run it, and I show the data viewer, and I move it to watch, now it just gives me a very succinct, it doesn't give me any help in anything, because I know what I'm looking at here, and you do too. You know what I mean? All I need is a quick view, and then I'm out. So that's what I like about that expert thing. So let's go ahead and get rid of that, and holding the shift key down. Now we're going to move it into something a little more complex. So we're going to copy this script, and we're going to create new. We're going to do one of theirs, like their little default ones. So we'll save this into downloads. Oh, it always puts it on my second monitor. Bring it over. All right. So we're going to close the one behind it. I think we can still paste. So we're going to paste it in here. So this script is now in here. So let's hide others. All right. So now we're going to run it on this one, which is a much more complicated layout. So we go to script, we run it, we show our data viewer, we click on it, we add to watch. And if I can get it to open, here we go. So it gives you all the fields, and we can see where they come from. And I have a question. I see this now in their samples. Are they using an LLM to generate their field comments? What is that? Does anyone know? It's in a lot of their samples, that LLM.
What version of FileMaker are you using?
21.
You know,
It's
I'm thinking that is a language model market.
That's all I can come up with. It just strikes me as very peculiar. So, but then you get into here, you've got your fields, and I see these have date, times. Some of them are indexed, some of them aren't. I don't see any multiple repetitions, but this one is nice because see, you can see the value list that goes to this field and the one under it. This is kind of nice to know. And here's where I use it. Okay. While I'm dealing with this, I need to make sure like you may migrate a solution, you may copy and paste something from someplace to another, and it may have the wrong table occurrence. So it might have the table occurrence of action items A, and all of a sudden that will appear here. Well, I can quickly look at this and I can determine, oh, that's a mistake. I've got to go in and fix that. That's from the old. It's stuff like that that I want to get out of this. So, and another thing it does, if I create a new record, I'm not too used to the solution, but if you run it and there's, it checks to see if there's, you heard that beep maybe, if there's a record open situation, it will not run. It just fails gracefully. So you have to be in a benign situation to actually run it. And then you notice it's got these variable repetitions here. And that'll be interesting to tell you how I created those at the conference. There's some good stuff out of this. So that's the quick overview. It's a portable script that helps me quickly manage something, and that's as quick as I'm in it. I'll run it, I'll look, I get what I need, and I'm out. So that's my presentation.
We have a couple minutes. Thank you, Brian. We have a couple minutes to entertain any questions to Brian.
Yeah, sure.
Anybody has anything?
Hey, I'll jump in. That looked very nice. I had forgotten field bounds. I did something similar, but I didn't do field bounds. Here's something constructive. I'll drop a link. When you have the bounds, you can use mouse pose and an Apple script to go and find it. Mouse pose actually went up in price, but I at one point I was like,
yeah,
because it's scriptable.
Yeah.
It can put the little circle. Did it for the LA group.
Yeah.
That's very cool. One other thing that controversial topic. So you've got the metadata for the fields, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the controversial thing is I've a practice of embedding the metadata into field names. Like if it's a calculation, if it's a stored calculated text, I'll have it be _SCT. You know, obviously each to his own, people aren't going to agree, but I found that useful. And I have something similar called system structure, where I get the metadata and then I check the field names against the metadata. And like I made a mistake once, I did a record number and I called it _CN, but it was really text because I forgot. But I ran a little check. It's like, am I telling the truth about the field name? Like, is my suffix correct? And it wasn't. I was like, had to change it. But I think that's very cool for a presentation. I think that's a good one.
Thank you. Yeah, good. I mean, the under the hood stuff is what we're going to talk about to fill up the time, because I've already done a run through with I had to do an ad hoc presentation at our own users group because the person canceled. And we realized it took 40 minutes because we go into all the details of how to create that variable, how to clear it, how to loop through and get things. And oh my goodness, when I say it's the greatest script before AI, I had to meticulously figure out to get those column links, because I don't know, you guys are veterans. When you're in FileMaker, when you're in the current data viewer, it's not monospaced. You have to move everything over to the watched and it becomes monospaced. So therefore, I could do it. So I had to figure out all those. I had to go get the links and I had to backwardly track to fill up the variable to populate it. It was arduous.
Well, that's great, Brian. And boy, we are up against the clock here. And so I want to thank everybody for coming and hope that we're going to do these next month on Tuesday. And I think it's the second Tuesday. And hope you all come. We'll probably have a larger attendance in each successive month. So don't hesitate to give us feedback if you feel that there are things that weren't addressed that you'd like to have addressed. And thanks again. Take care, everybody.
Invite your friends.
Yeah, that's right. You don't have to be an attendee. Bye-bye,
Thanks
everyone.
for the show. Hey, Brian, if you're quick and click the three dots on the lower right, my link, and you could round trip off the bounds to find things on the layout. But anyway, good show. Thanks all.
Okay.
See y'all soon.
Maybe even
Take care,
tomorrow.
all.
Yeah.
Big FM tomorrow. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Brian.
Okay, thank you.
All right, here we go. I'm going to quit.